Hey, what is up guys, Tava here, and today I'm going to be showing you how Alli seamlessly constructs most of his insane cinematic edits without the use of any fancy editing tricks or transitions. So if you don't know who Alli is, he's a YouTuber who has a very interesting style of making travel videos that is very unique and draws an audience's attention in because it is so unique. So basically what he has is very short travel videos that have lots of clips laid within them, along with a very good sound design and music choice that just makes a very pleasing video to watch. That is why they are so popular. So like anybody that makes popular travel videos, he does have some very fancy transitions and effects using After Effects built into his videos, but for the most part his transitions are quite simple and are just edited very nicely using sound design and have some very easy tricks that I'm going to be showing you today on how you can accomplish similar effects. So to show you how to do this, I'm going to be first breaking down some of his effects in his popular videos to show you how he uses specific things laid throughout them consistently to create a very cinematic effect, and then I'm going to be going outside to show you how to actually shoot it and incorporate it yourself. So let's get started. So if we look at some clips from his Egypt and Hawaii videos, I'm going to be breaking down some different things he uses between transitions and clips to make it flow as seamless as possible. And the four main things I'm going to be breaking down is how he uses planned and cohesive shots that go together, speed ramping, consistent transitions, and the use of quick editing. So let's look at these individually. So the first thing is the use of planned and cohesive shots, and I think this is the most important because it's something that you should actually keep in mind when you're going to shoot your footage, so you know what you're going to be planning to do in editing. And this is something that he always does very well. So if we look at this shot from his Hawaii video, you can see it starts with this wide shot coming in, and as it moves closer it has a transition, cuts to a closer shot of the same place, and then finally cuts to another shot of the road down below. And these shots were obviously planned beforehand because he has them in order and how he wants them, so he could just line them up in editing and make a really simple effect that looks incredibly cool when played back because it is so well planned out. So that's just something that he does really well that's good to keep in mind. Another example of how he uses planned and cohesive shots is where he uses specific angles and directions in all of his shots together. So if we look at these drone shots here, you can see we have one moving over to the right orbiting, and then he cuts to another one at the same speed and direction of orbit, and then cuts to another one at the same direction and speed of orbit. And when you combine all of these three together, it makes the shot look a lot more consistent and it makes the editing look a lot less harsh. So like I said, it's just a really good thing to keep in mind when you're shooting to do similar movements so you can edit them together in post. Now the second little trick I noticed with a lot of his editing is the use of speed ramping between clips, which is a very simple effect. Basically, speed ramping allows you to speed up a video clip at the very end and at the beginning of another one, so they seamlessly transition between each other. As you can see in a lot of his shots, the last 2 or 3 frames are sped up to make it more seamless. The speed ramping when going frame by frame is a little bit hard to see, but in this shot you can see it's panning to the right here, and at the very end, last few frames, it speeds up a little bit before cutting to the next shot. And the same thing with coming into this shot. As it comes in, it's moving a little bit quicker, but he does it so subtly between shots it's not really a shock to the system like some speed ramping is. If you make your speed ramps too long on either side, it adds a bit of jolting motion that doesn't look realistic. So what I really like about his transitions and what I think makes them look so unique is that the speed ramp only occurs at the last 2 to 3 frames of each shot, so you don't really realize it's happening until it's already happened, and I think this makes it flow a lot better. So here's another example of the speed ramp. You can see a road here moving by, and if I go frame by frame, you can see the last few frames right about here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it cuts to the next shot. So you can see it's right at the end of the clip, and if you play it back, it doesn't look shocking, it looks completely seamless and normal. So the third thing I notice about his editing is the use of consistent transitions. And I know I said this video it's not going to have any fancy transitions between it, but he actually does use a lot of transitions between all of his video clips. It's just a very basic transition that he uses consistently. So as you can see, between a clip like this, if we go frame by frame, you can see it has this directional blur effect before cutting to the next clip, and you can see he uses it between almost every cut between every clip. So there's the blur right there. If we go to the next cut, you can see it comes up here, starts to blur, and then blurs into the next clip. But what he does is use it very consistently. So between every video that he makes, he uses the exact same transition. It's a very basic transition that he uses, but it adds a good consistent feel between the whole video and between between his channel as a whole. And because this transition is so basic, pretty much any editing software will probably already have it built into the software, so it's just nice that you don't have to add additional fancy plugins that you might not have. And I'm definitely not saying that you should copy this effect completely using the exact same transitions in the same place, but I'm just noting how he uses transitions consistently and constantly between his videos. And also something good to note is how short the transitions are, so they don't last a long time in the video. They're only a couple frames, so if we go frame by frame, you can see it's about 1, 2, 3, 4 frames of the actual transition occurring, and then you're on to the next clip. So it's not a big distraction, it just helps to guide you from clip to clip. And then my last tip for how his editing stands out is his use of quick editing. So if you watch this New York clip right here, these shots are very short and cut very quickly between things that add a nice flow to the video. Obviously you don't want your clips to be too short or jarring between things, but having these quick little sequences in between slower sequences allows for the story to be told more eloquently, as well as just brings your viewer along for the journey. So I think it's a really unique touch that's pretty interesting in certain circumstances. And paired with sound design, it works very smoothly. So anyway, those are the main basic, simple things that I noticed about JR Alli's editing style, but now let's head out and I'll show you how to actually do them in the field. So I'm not in Egypt, Hawaii, or New York City, but thankfully I don't have to be in one of those places to demonstrate this effect. So my idea is to go from a wide shot of a tree to a close-up in multiple shots, so getting progressively closer and closer as I pan down consistently, so let's try and shoot that. Alright, so keeping everything centered, I'm going to start from the top of the tree really wide from the outside, panning down, so let's shoot that right now. And now I'm gonna move in closer for a different shot. Okay, so now I'm a bit closer to the tree and I'm gonna shoot the same angle and speed coming down. And now I'm even closer, so I'm gonna shoot the same shot again. And then for the final shot, I'm gonna be super close up to the tree doing the same angle but end right close. So let's shoot it. So now that those are shot, I should be able to transition those 4 shots into a pretty smooth and seamless shot with some simple editing. I've imported the video clips into my editing software and lined them up in order, and if I play it back, you can see it's already pretty smooth with the transitions with almost no editing whatsoever. And this is because I did the first tip, which is planning your shots. So as you can see, it goes quite a long way just to plan your shots beforehand, and you don't really have to do that much work after that. But to smooth it out, we're going to do some speed ramping inside of my editing software, which is Final Cut Pro. I'm not entirely sure how speed ramping works in other editing softwares besides this one, but I'm sure you can pretty easily look it up and find tutorials for it. But in Final Cut Pro, it's extremely easy. All you need to do is find the point where you want the transition to occur, the speed ramp to occur. So I want to have it happen about right here. You just click that point, and on your keyboard, all you do is hit Shift B, and it automatically adds a speed ramp right here super easily. And then what you can do is change the speed either by dragging this point right here or by clicking the normal button here and changing it between these speeds. So what I like to do is usually speed ramp between a speed of about 4 to 8 times the normal speed and make it pretty quick. So if I just go to fast and hit 8 times, what you can see is it speeds up this clip right here, adding a transition to smooth it out. And basically at the point where it goes from normal to 800, you can see it speeds up the footage and makes it go fast into the next clip. So once I have the next clip, what I'm going to do is go to the beginning of it, click somewhere over in the edge of it, again Shift B for that speed ramp, and speed it up by about 4 times. So if I play this back, now you can see it's a much smoother transition because it's speed ramped between these two. So once you speed ramp the beginning and end of every clip, you get a result that looks something like this. So by pre-planning your shots, speed ramping, and using quick editing, you get a result that looks very much like JR Alli's editing, but is very simple to do and doesn't require any fancy tricks. But anyway, that's it for today. If you like this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.